Welcome to Birds Watch Me, a channel where I give spoken word versions of original essays that I publish on my Substack, also titled Birds Watch Me. I hope you enjoy and thank you for being here. Oh, humanity, see how you've aged. What cathedrals you once built. What stale high rises are going up now. Once creating for the heavens, now stacking into self-contained heights. In our individual lives, we too often cycle through stages, eras of profound belief, then succeeded by ones of secular materialism. In the former, we tend to harbor fanatical, almost dogmatic hopes. Our inspiration is capable of hitting the highest notes. The Renaissance, for all that it was, a rediscovery, of course, of pre-Christian arts and thinkers, its greatest artists still also tended to be deep, deep believers in the religion of their day. Michelangelo's incredible, near superhuman body of work is unthinkable without his profound belief in God. What else could have sustained his artistic will to the same degree? The uncertain future towering above us when we're young inspires a similar type of fearful reverence. We create our future out of desperate faith. The most sure believer still finds need of tearful, yearning prayer in times of extreme hardship and upheaval. Not that their faith is wavering, but living amidst a quaking world, how can even the most faithful not be expected to waver with it to some degree? Individual wavering amidst a world that is doing the same is actually a technique to keep balance. Like on a ship in rough seas, you shuffle your step, not to mirror that roughness, but to balance the self. Keeping balance, of course, looks different in different situations. I'm thinking about life here on an individual timeline, and not necessarily in a religious sense, but the beginning of adulthood can bring about the same combination of belief, hope, and also a sense of powerlessness before the towering of future ahead and above. We create out of belief in an obscure immensity who we're becoming. In youth, the future seems to be everywhere. It seems to be the great beyond. And the young mind is always forward thinking, so they can be excused for thinking the ahead is the everywhere. It's equivalent to the universal. It looks like a kind of God to them, not graspable completely from their perch, but maybe reachable through creations, prayers, and works, whatever form these may take. Such grandiose possibilities, they're not subject to completely discernible rules, especially in the mind of a person in the fever of young adulthood. Mighty and random, everything overwhelming in its unreachable promise and beauty. Unreachable and yet seemingly not unattainable. That is the allure. Life, as it lies before them, is like a beautiful woman affecting a shy young man who is as yet inexperienced. Sufficiently conceived, there's no limit to our energy. We create for it. We offer to it a sacrifice of time, of temples. If this spirit reaches significant pitch, we find our own Michelangelo phase in a different form, of course, but it plays out meaningfully personal to us. The danger, friends, it comes later, closer to middle age, when our hopes contract, when the future becomes more observable, subject to routine, perhaps, in your personal life, the limits more defined. We understand, we think that we can do this and that in life, but these other realms we have realized are not and perhaps were never reachable, even through the kind of prayer I spoke of in the former description. In a sense, the universe, our personal fate, becomes subject to scientific laws. Our fate has lost its frontiers. We see, we think we see, that everything is determined. What once was sheer wonder, what planet we saw once and never knew if it would return to our skies, we have now tracked its orbit. It affects us less. We have calculated what to expect and when. The future becomes a low sky, now forecasted. Our inspiration is in danger of drying up. What do we offer great works to now? And what even inspires our energy to create them, to continue to create them? What's needed once you get to this phase? If you get to this phase, Michelangelo, of course, he was in his 80s and he was still full of the spirit. But in any case, what's needed in many cases are periodic, willful descents into some valley or another to reposition ourselves so that the sky over our lives regains the wonder of its old, which is to say, its young height. It's not a matter of losing any actual elevation. Don't give away ground hard won by years of experience, but take in a little more sky.